Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to join me today. Today, I'm going to be upgrading my 2003 dual 1.8 gigahertz Power Mac G5. I've worked on that machine in the past, and you've seen videos, or you can if you have not yet seen them. It's quite a worthy machine. One thing I haven't done though is the graphics card. This is an ATI graphics card with 128 megabytes of video RAM, which is not that much, but what's in there now is 64. So we'll get this in there, we'll test that out on YouTube, probably the best test. Now while I'm in there, we're going to be putting in this SSD. It's a 1 terabyte from OWC. It's in an enclosure here, so it'll fit into the 3.5 inch bay. Now, if you ever choose to do this at home, note the SATA connections in there are SATA 1. Most modern SSDs are not backwards compatible with SATA 1. According to OWC, this one is. So we shall find out, won't we? Come along for the ride. I had taken the door off this thing in preparation for doing the upgrade when it occurred to me that I had really intended to clone the existing installations of Leopard and Tiger onto the new SSD. So I put it back together, plugged it in, and found that the SSD from OWC was not initialized. So I initialized it, and I set up the 3 partitions. Tiger, which will have 80 gigabytes, that's plenty for Tiger. I rarely boot into it on this machine. Leopard's got 300, that's what I use most of the time, and then the shared data of a little over 551. So that should be good. Close out a disk utility, select the source, select the destination, Tiger SSD. Now it's going to give me saying delete everything, because of course there's nothing on there. It's going to give me a warning that the disk won't be bootable because it's plugged in via USB. I didn't want to take it out of its 3.5 inch enclosure to put it into an enclosure, which is not the easiest thing in the world, plug it in via FireWire. So it's going to be on the slow side, but I've done this before and it does work. So we are now cloning the Tiger drive, or we will when I put in the password, the existing Tiger partition onto the new SSD. Now I will put in my password, and I'm going to repeat this process and clone the Leopard installation. You don't really need to watch all of that. Well, this is pretty cool. The first backup has finished. It took just about 43 minutes, which is pretty darn good. I was expecting it to be quite a bit longer than that. For some reason the fans are ramping up now, but we'll say okay. Now I just need to repeat this entire process, this time cloning the Leopard installation. So I think I can do this with one hand. Mac HD is where that is. Okay, yep. And then Leopard SSD. Partition there. Delete anything that doesn't exist in the source. Okay, I should get that same error message. It won't boot the computer. It certainly will, just not while it's plugged in via USB. An interesting point. We're used to being able to boot up our Macs from USB connected drives. Back in the days of Firewire, you could not boot a Power Mac from USB without some fancy trickery and open firmware. Okay, so this should probably take approximately the same time, maybe slightly longer, since there's more data on this drive. So stay tuned. Wow, look at that. Almost 2 hours. Of course, I'd forgotten. I put a movie on this machine just to see if I could get it to play, and it played pretty well, by the way. Be interesting to look at that. I can't, since it's a commercial movie, I can't put that on a video, but I'll report on it to see if it plays even better than it did. It was very watchable. But yeah, 1 hour, 52 minutes. I mean, I use this machine quite a bit, and Leopard is the operating system of choice, definitely. Man, that took forever. Well, okay, so we're going to be shutting this off, putting this SSD in. The disk with the Leopard install is going to come out. It looks to be a pretty straightforward process, other than getting the door open. I'll talk more about that in a bit. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, we have the Power Mac G5 sitting on its side now. Now that's not strictly necessary. It's certainly not necessary at all to remove the hard drive. In fact, it might make it a little bit more difficult. But it should help in changing the graphics card. That screw that's holding the card into the AGP slot, it's not magnetized. It is incredibly easy to lose that screw and have it fall down into the computer, never to be seen again. So hopefully with it on its side, I'll be able to make sure it gets saved. The other thing, I don't know how well you can see in there, but there is a little clip that holds the end of the graphics card into the AGP slot. That needs to be lifted up when you're pulling the card out. Now here's another thing I found interesting. Those two gray things up here are supposed to be locking mechanisms. To lock the card in, it will be down like that, so that the drive is not gonna come out. In order to get it out, you just move the locking mechanism like that. You can see there are two drives in there. This is drive A, this is drive B. These were already up, so whenever someone added in the second hard drive, they only shipped with one. They somehow or other did this so that those left locking mechanisms up. Now, it seemed to have worked. Both drives work, so what the heck. But I will be sure to put that down. Now, I believe, just looking at System Profiler, that the larger hard drive, the 500 gigabyte drive, is in the A position here. That's good, because you've got to take the B drive out if you want to take the A drive out. So I should simply be able to remove the B drive and replace it with the SSD. All right, so let's get to that. All right, this may be kind of a weird angle for you, but I think it's the best shot at seeing what I'm doing. Ah, yes, this is a lot easier. I can actually reach in and hold onto the screw and removing the card. Get started there. Inserting the 128 megabyte card. That should be locked in. Now, can we get the screw back in without dropping it? This is the problem. I almost lost it there. Okay, I think that's going in. Yep, yep. Okay, graphics card is done. Now, hard drive. Unplugging the SATA cables. And out it comes. All right, now what I'll need to do, now it's missing, oh, no, here, missing one screw. There's supposed to be 4 screws in here. One here, one here, one here, and one missing. And these are not the original screws. They would ship with one hard drive, and then there would be 4 screws in these holes here. You can't really see the holes, but they're there. Can I move that? Yeah, they're in here. There you see them. Okay. So, the screws here, one of them is not original, and one of them is missing. I will have to examine and see if I have a screw that's going to replace it, because it is the screws that guide the drive into position. All right, we shall be back. Well, only one of the 3 screws that were there in the hard drive, which I believe is the only original one, came out. The other 2 are jammed in there. But I had close matches, so we should be okay. And now, simply to slot the new drive in. Try to do this with my left hand so you can maybe see a little bit. There. And can't see myself. Yep, that's right. Okay, I can't do this with my left hand. Ah. And there we go. So we should be connected. We turn down that mechanism, it shouldn't come out. I already took the liberty of moving the cover of a drive A there. All right. So, the acrylic air baffling back in. And I'm going to shut down this clip for a moment, just so you can see the experience of putting the top back in. You may remember when I first featured this computer on video, it arrived bad. I can't get a good look there. Badly bent over here. Getting that wonderful little door off the side is quite an adventure. So let me reset this so we can try to get that captured for you. I am hoping that having the computer on its side like this will make it easier to get the door back on. I am also sincerely hoping that I am not going to have to take this door off again to get into the computer. Not much else to upgrade. Okay. That's set in there. I get the latch open. All right. And therein lies the problem. The bend up here in the handle. All right. Yeah. It was, I wouldn't say easy, but easier on its side. All right then. Now to get this machine back over to the Apple Cinema display, get it connected, boot it up, and hope that everything works. It should. I'm expecting it's going to boot up into the installation of Tiger that is on the one remaining hard drive. But we shall see. Stay tuned. Okay, let's power this up and see what happens. So far, so good. Come on, give me video. Please give me video. It's not giving me any video. No, there it is. Whew. Scared me there. All right. It was set to boot into the old Leopard installation on the old hard drive that I took out. So it's a little slow looking for something to boot from. It should default to the A drive, which is the 500 gig hard drive, 2 partitions, one of which is Tiger. And there they are. Okay. We have Tiger. That's on the 500 gig hard drive, first partition. Tiger SSD is the partition I made for Tiger on the new SSD. Leopard SSD, the second partition. The data, that's actually most of the drive, which is a joint data drive. Backup was the remainder of the 500 gig drive that I didn't need for Tiger. And then there's an external drive. All right. It looks like this has worked. Let's reboot this into Leopard. Okay. Obviously, this is not going to be as fast as a SATA 2 or SATA 3 connection. It's SATA 1. But that is preferable to IDE. I've come to love that background, the standard background for Leopard. And we're here. .5.8, so the cloning obviously worked. Dual 1.8 gigahertz PowerPC G5, 8 gigabytes of DDR SD RAM, which of course I had already put in there. The big thing we've got to look at here, what is it going to say in graphics? AGP slot, ATY RB360, it's actually ATI Radeon, and the total VRAM 128 megabytes. As I said in the intro clip, that's not a lot, but what was in there before in that card I took out was only 64. It should make a difference. All right. I think I'm going to end the video here. I'll do a fairly short follow-up video with results as I explore a little bit on both the SSD and the new graphics card. But for now, this should do it. So, be good to other people because they deserve it. We're all here in the earth together. Be especially good to yourselves because you deserve it too. And take very good and careful care. We shall see you soon.